The funniest thing about this video is how it came to life, because it was inspired by this Reddit post. I wanted to upvote it, but I could not find it in me to upvote something that is promoting the use of Shell Bell. But then I thought, what if Shell Bell was viable on Sylveon? I could give this a like. Nice. This entire video hinges on one thing. Does Shell Bell heal mid-attack? Miss, heal 178 at level 4. Okay. Level 6 healing with Hyper Voice, 199. Let's go Calm Mind. Alright, Calm Mind, Hyper Voice, 247. Okay. Then we'll do Calm Mind, Hyper Voice, X Attack, and see if we get any shenanigans. 272. So that confirms my theory that X Attack just is additive with all the other stats. It's not like you use Calm Mind, and then X Attack does another 20% on top of that. And wouldn't you know, they immediately nerfed Sylveon. So I made this video before the nerf, and I've been sitting on it for a few days trying to figure out what to do, because really, I feel that Sylveon being the best Pokemon in the game was kinda the only thing that let it get away with Shell Bell. But I think there's some interesting numbers and math and things to talk about, and maybe because Sylveon is weaker, having that, like, healing and needing the special attack to, like, fill in its stats maybe still has some viability or argument, or maybe it's, like, it's effectively the same Sylveon. No, Hyper Voice duration did not get nerfed, so you always have uptime on the Shell Bell, and since its special attack or the scaling on Calm Mind didn't get nerfed, you're effectively getting the same healing, so you're just not as spooky on damage. So even with nerfed Sylveon Shell Bell, you're not the immortal one-shotter, you're just kind of hanging out and still getting the benefits of it, which might work because of your weakened state, or because you're in a weakened state, you should just be prioritizing defenses, staying around longer, throwing out more Hyper Voices, and then trying to patch in the stats that you lost. I don't know. Let's get into the video. Okay, so it looks like we have some numbers to talk about, because I've been against Shell Bell from the beginning. That 10-second cooldown is just way too long, and it means there is always a more efficient item. Why are you running Shell Bell when Focus Band exists? Like, you just get much more health over the course of a fight, gives you the little bit of extra defenses. It's just going to be a better item, even factoring in the cooldown. But people are like, yo, it gives special attack. 24 special attack is pretty much nothing, especially because a lot of Pokemon have very little scaling. Like, Pikachu has 66% on one of its abilities. I think it's like 70% on another ability or something. Yeah, look at this. We got 66% on Electro Ball, going to 77. Ooh, 2 damage. And then we have 50% going up to 61%. And even the Thunderstorm hits 4 times. It's not a crazy amount. So, I mean, for your ability usage, every 7, 8-ish, because of cooldown, like natural cooldown reduction, not Shell Bell cooldown reduction, every 7 seconds, you're getting an extra 40 damage when Pokemon have thousands of health. Doesn't really seem that worth it on the Shell Bell, to be honest. And then also, like, Assault Vest just completely negates all of that while also giving more effective health than the Shell Bell gives. Now, you do have to leave combat, but still, like, it's good health. Special defense actually adds up, especially on, like, squishier Pokemon, or tanks just getting a little bit of extra efficiency. Eos Cookie flat health means you always have that health, and it does get into a really weird argument inside of Pokemon Unite that I'm still trying to find the best answer for. Like, what's better? Flat health, health restoration, or straight damage? It gets really weird because damage is super undervalued in this game compared to pretty much all other tank options, which is why Eos Cookie, just the flat health, seems to be king, even at a couple of dunks. Like, you don't even have to fully stack it for it to be the best item in the game, so that's kind of weird. And then Buddy Berry just gives you a straight 600 flat health. That percent shield is where things get messy, because it's pretty much trolling if you're not helping out your allies in the game-winning fight at Zapdos, but outside of that, it's like, okay, how valuable is that 600 hit points compared to Shell Bell, where I'm going to be healing several hundred hit points every 10 seconds, in theory, and then the Focus Band giving you thousands of hit points during a crucial fight, if it's not already on cooldown from a scuff fight, or like, just a really bad trade. Like, if you trade out and lose a Focus Band, you have pretty much no value, and that's not good. Now, 20 to 30 defense on a frail Pokemon that has several thousand health actually comes out to a couple hundred of effective hit points, but still less value than pretty much any other item. However, that is like game-changing right there, especially with Buddy Barrier and passives and other things going on, which is why it's like Shell Bell just ain't it. Even if you're going Buddy Bear or Focus Band on a Pokemon, then there's a better item that they want somewhere in the stack that isn't Shell Bell. Enter Sylveon. Of course, the new crazy overtuned Pokemon doesn't make any sense, and I'm still trying to figure out what to do, because, like, triple special attack item on Sylveon is so fun, and is viable, except you're trolling if you don't have Buddy Barrier, because Buddy Barrier meta is king, and it makes the game annoying, because, like, Buddy Barrier is, like, the rule is, you cannot escape it. Buddy Barrier is mandatory. Except on maybe Talonflame, because it has the most scuffed Unite move in the game. And even Sylveon, even though it's frail, it just does so much damage in lane. Once it gets that Hyper Voice, the flat health from Buddy Barrier doesn't really matter. And it doesn't even need the shield, because it jumps in, heals a ton of health, and then gets to heal off of doing damage, and it already does an insane amount of damage. So even if you go for like a special attack item over the Buddy Barrier, you're getting healing efficiency for your Unite move when, again, you don't even need the Buddy Barrier to begin with, but having that extra 40% on an ally in a team fight is needed. So let's just ignore Buddy Barrier for a bit, that way we can focus on the Shell Bell, because Buddy Barrier is just stupid and annoying with how mandatorily broken it is. But even outside of that, I find a lot of Pokemon have a hard time using Shell Bell, which is another reason why I'm against it. Even Pokemon like Venusaur, where it's like, yo, with the Petal Dance and the Giga Drain, you're pretty much always casting abilities, so there's not going to be too many windows where Shell Bell is off cooldown. Whereas the awkward, you know, timings on a lot of other Pokemon where it's like 7-second cooldown, so you use it, and then it comes off cooldown and you use it again, and they're just going to be hanging there for a few seconds, not getting the healing on Shell Bell, so it's hurting on lane sustain, potential like poke and fight, posturing sustain, and weird stuff like that. And then for the most part, with that 10-second cooldown, you're getting 1 usage in a fight, maybe 2. And that makes it kind of rough, again, compared to like Focus Band and Assault Vest. But also with Pokemon like Venusaur, Venusaur is going all in. It doesn't really have a healthy training pattern to work with the Shell Bell. If it's in Giga Drain range, then it's just going to be going. And if it's in Petal Dance range, it's going to be speeding into the enemy team and trying to like create chaos and stuff. So like Shell Bell is a hard committing item for the Venusaur. And then that also like creates a lot of weird stuff, and it doesn't get full efficiency of the Shell Bell inside of lane, because that low range on the Giga Drain and also the melee focusedness of the Petal Dance, you're not trading with opponents. You can still get poked and harassed as the Venusaur. Enter Sylveon. Well, not Pikachu. Enter Sylveon, where kind of everything I've been saying about Shell Bell, like having weaknesses or Pokemon having weirdness, just completely goes away, because Hyper Voice's scaling is absolutely nuts. That it does more damage the more times it hits. Now, we don't know if this like adds into base damage or does anything with scaling just yet, but you get 6 hits at 67%, and then also when you get your level 10, very early upgrade into 7, so you're going to be getting the benefit of Shell Bell almost with 100% uptime. It's kind of nuts, while also dealing crazy damage. And then, I say the best moveset is Calm Mind, so you're getting 40% special attack, which also scales with your passive, which is giving you 15% special attack, so it makes the special attack value of the Shell Bell have even more value, so then you're getting a little bit more damage out of that, and also more Shell Bell healing. And that's another thing about the Shell Bell, because it converts some of your special attack into healing when it activates, so Pokemon with very high special attack are going to feel it more than Pokemon with lower special attacks, thus making like the Pokemon choosable on even smaller. But like I said, I don't find any viability except for maybe Sylveon, which we are currently trying to work through. So yeah, that 45% special attack gets kind of nuts, but if we go back over here, we can see, like, that's why I want all special attack items in theory, because everything just gives you more efficiency, but it's also, like, not a crazy amount. You know, choice specs, we get rid of that choice specs, and then we're getting, you know, like, 13 less healing when we have thousands of health, when it activates every 10 seconds, so I don't think that matters. And then, when we get into the special attack specs, this is just the best value item on Sylveon because of our insane scaling, but also because we're getting so many bonus stats. So the way that Wise Glasses works is that it's additive. That it's not like, oh, you're getting 40%, then 7% on top of that. No, you're just getting 47% when you have the Wise Glasses. So that means if you're running this, if you're running specs, and you have any amount of scores on it, all of that is going to be getting multiplied. So any amount that you go over the Wise Glasses is just going to be straight value into Sylveon's special attack, which then synergizes with Shell Bell, which also has me, like, giga conflicted. Like I said, we're putting down Buddy Barrier for a bit, because is this how it works? Like, is this how weird Sylveon is? Let's see if math can save us here, because the thing about choice specs is that, yeah, 40% special attack with that damage conversion. So actually, we can see right here that the health versus damage trade-off is skewed towards health, or skewed towards tank stats, because it's only 60 plus 40% special attack in damage compared to 75 plus 75% special attack in healing. Now the cooldowns are different, but again, these aren't always going off like on cooldown or something. So it's like the more conservative option is going to give you more value, and then this is the more aggressive option, which gives you less value but sooner. Also, the additional damage only applies to one target, so Hyper Voice with that AoE, you're not getting like crazy amounts of damage off of it, but then we can like keep going into the numbers and the weirdness. So with the healing that we saw earlier on in the practice tool, we just take a little bit off of that, and then that's our choice specs damage that we don't have instead. It makes like trading and laning and actual fight math and numbers kind of weird, and like I just wish that you didn't need Buddy Bear. I've been running triple, special item Sylveon and having fun with it, but like it kind of breaks down where it's like, oh yeah, Zapdos, I think one of my carries probably could use 40% health, and maybe we would have won that instead. Or like in those rare situations where you just get blown up after using your night move, like Buddy Bear can salvage games as well. That if you're behind, that's just strength, that's just value, that's just insanity. But that also brings us to the special attack specs, because after you get any amount of scoring, it's like 3 scores comes into play, and then you're getting a lot of damage out of it. Like, that special attack spec starts to scale, and that's where it's like, yo, if I just had choice specs, special attack specs, I'm bursting to the point where healing doesn't matter. But then with Shell Bell, since, like, you're always hyper-voicing, from, like, level 4 on, you're pretty much always going to be healing off of something, whether it's camps, whether it's enemies, whether it's, like, weird trades inside of lane. Because in, like, higher level play, especially 113, which I'm personally loving the Sylveon in as that solo top, like, the value of health in those trades is still pretty high, so you're getting a good amount. Now, I don't think it's high enough to make it to where, like, Shell Bell needs to be picked on most Pokemon or any other Pokemon, but it's like, I feel like that Shell Bell gives you something. It gives you a little bit of that extra posturing, which could convert into an extra camp. So that's experience, like, plus experience for you, minus experience from the opponent because they're getting denied on it, and, like, that could create its own mattering value. However, there's also choice specs. It activates and then it ticks over the damage to allow you to secure the camp, so it can have the same kind of effect. And then the special attack specs just gives you so much extra special attack and damage because of that crazy uptime on the Hyper Voice. I don't know, because like, choice specs makes Sylveon more oppressive, but I feel like Shell Bell makes Sylveon more oppressive because it's like, man, I just can't do anything to it. And then when you finally like win a trade, it's just going to start healing back off of that. Now again, Pokemon have thousands of health, so healing very small amounts, like 200, 300 every 10 seconds doesn't really matter, or doesn't feel like it matters. But if you secure a camp, that camp's going to give you a little bit of regeneration, so it's like the Shell Bell kind of gains into that, to where it's like, yeah, you're harder to beat out, you're harder to stuff out and do really much of anything against, while also getting that meaningful damage. Because like, if Sylveon didn't have like 400% scaling every 4 seconds, yeah, go Sylvest if you're like worried about getting bullied out and you just want to like win trades or something. But no, like, it's crazy that uptime, you're getting enough damage out of Shell Bell to justify it. And choice specs is also going to be like that same thing, where it's going to hit and it's going to work. So what if we don't want Buddy Barrier? How preposterous is Sylveon to think that it's better than Buddy Barrier? Like, that 600 health on such a squishy Pokemon seems like it's absolutely needed, but then you're trading that for a couple hundred health and damage, and then a couple hundred damage, and then also a couple hundred healing in trades and extended fights and stuff. So I mean, like, the raw value of Buddy Barrier is beaten by Shell Bell, I'm pretty sure. Because if you're going all special attack items, and you're also going into that Calm Mind for the extra scaling, you're getting a ludicrous amount of special attack very early on into the game. And as you scale into it, it also makes it weird on that Shell Bell, because the otherwise meaningless stat of 75 base healing, what does that mean? What does that do? 75 health every 10 seconds. How does that matter in a game where Pokemon are starting with 4,000 health? Well, that actually kind of like patches you up as you're scaling into that. And again, it's always happening. It's always on cooldown. And then you have the base special attack. So that's where it's like, yo, I am going to be healing 250 every 10 seconds. So it takes a little over 2 to catch up to a Buddy Barrier. But over the course of laning, if you're like posturing over Vespiquen, if there's like a weird trade, garbage damage and stuff like that, also the natural healing and shielding from the base plus Citrus Berries, like at some point this saves you a Citrus Berry in between Citrus Berry like cooldowns and like Citrus Berry respawns and stuff. It's like, that could be enough value to not die. That could be enough value to like take a gank or turn the fight or steal a camp. You know, you just go out there and steal the camp because you have that much extra bonus health and you can take that hit. You know, you can get collapsed on, but you're not low enough to die. You have a comfortable amount of escape health to maybe take something away from the opponent, so it doesn't put you behind as far. Also, the weird thing about Pokemon Unite is that Pokemon Unite is a weird game where it's like, oh man, someone blew their Unite move right before Zapdos because they were pretty much forced to, or like weird game states and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, Buddy Barrier isn't always up. Same argument for Focus Band not being always up. Yeah, it's kind of weird that the two items that are very situational and have like a couple of uses in the game are the two mandatory items. It just kind of shows the power of Dreadnought, Zapdos, Buddy Barrier, and Focus Band. So I feel like if any one of these things get nerfed, you know, the first thing to go, it depends. Like, I think Buddy Barrier needs to get nerfed before you like hard kick out Buddy Barrier, because like even if Zapdos gets nerfed, you're still probably going to want to take it in an overwhelming majority of games, just because unless you can't nerf him to the ground, because then you don't have the last 2 minutes of the game. Like, Zapdos is the way it is and hasn't been nerfed yet, because that is what Pokemon Unite is supposed to revolve around. Even if it is overtuned, it could probably still use a little bit of a touch. I mean, like, Buddy Bear would have to go down to like 25% hit points. Yeah, 25% hit points, and like now not everyone has to take it. Now there's like just better damage options potentially, or some other weird stuff going in, and that justifies the Shell Bell. Same thing for Focus Band. If it loses like 4% of that, so it caps out at like 10% hit points lost, I think you have a different argument for a lot of other Pokemon. But then the math and numbers and argument kind of keep getting cloudier and cloudier, because if you just use this, you're getting a lot more pressure against the opponents, and like this could just snowball out of control. This turns into levels. This turns into extra scores. This turns into, you know, abilities coming online soon. This turns into Dreadnoughts and Rotoms and goal breaking and stuff, to where not even a Buddy Barrier deficit, you know, 40% hit point deficit for an allied Pokemon makes up for the advantage that you have created for yourself, and also just the sheer amounts of damage and stuff you're putting out on top of the Sylveon. And that's, you know, like, it's a perfect storm for Shell Bell, to where if we ignore Buddy Barrier, which I consider slightly viable but also equally troll on the Sylveon, because I've been going back and forth. It's like I win a game with 3 items, I'm like, yes, the Sylveon 3 items is the way. I get hard stomped in a game when I have 3 items. I'm like, if we had Buddy Barrier there, maybe it would have made a difference. It's not like, oh, we win with Buddy Barrier, but it's like, ooh, it's making me doubt the triple item stack right there. However, Wise Glasses is so inefficient on Sylveon because of Sylveon's like just attack, not attack, you know, the special attack stacking and the percentage growth on this Pokemon, where it's like anything beats Wise Glasses, so just put in special attack damage that gives you an extra benefit, and then it's just gonna be GG easy. So yeah, after my experience with Sylveon in the 113 and just kind of like seeing how close some of the trades and interactions get, also like a little bit of 2v2, you know, just standard laning as well, all of that experience coming in, it's like Sylveon gets close. And since you are able to actually utilize Shell Bell more efficiently than any other Pokemon, seems to have a case. It seems to be possible. And that's like another weird thing, like I said earlier on in the game. Pokemon Unite, you can't hard solve it because all the team fights are going to break down differently. All the lane posturing, all the value. You know, no one can say for certain what amount of flat health is automatically, objectively better than what amount of health regeneration inside the game. All that we really know for sure is that some amount of health regeneration over leftovers is better than flat health, but leftovers are just completely unusable, so... And it's mostly like the out of cooldown passive. The 8 seconds is just way too long to get a very little benefit, and then you just get like picked out, and then it just gets shut down completely again. So I mean, like, again, the numbers and Pokemon, the way that plays out is weird, but like, again, where do we go for damage? Because the time to kill in this game can completely snowball out of control, even though all the value is weighted tank side. But then that goes in like scaling another Pokemon using it. And then just when you have like 3 supports all putting a Buddy Barrier onto one Pokemon, that Pokemon doesn't need to worry about its own safety. All it has to do is worry about doing as much damage to the enemy Pokemon as possible. So even though value is like just straight down, also the short time of the game makes it to where like there's less value inside of regeneration, but you still find value inside of regeneration with the healing and the goals and the shields and the fights, and like not everything just immediately turning into like a complete all-in sometimes. Pokemon Unite is a complex game, and inside that complexity you will find exceptions. Like, I don't think that Shell Bell is a good item on other Pokemon using these same arguments, because Sylveon breaks all of the arguments because Hyper Voice is just so ridiculous. And if Hyper Voice gets nerfed Probably like a cool, I don't even know, like cooldown increase might still find a way to get almost always usage out of the Shell Bell or something. It needs like it needs special attack scaling nerf. And then we'll see what happens. But I mean, like, Sylveon just finds value that other Pokemon don't. Same thing with, like, Talonflame getting away with not needing Buddy Barrier, and other Pokemon being able to, like, change the rules of how you'd expect Pokemon Unite to play. You know, some don't only need Buddy Barrier, Focus Band, X item, or whatever, and other Pokemon still have, like, a lot of solved movesets and abilities, and I don't know what to say. It's, I threw out numbers. The healing offsets the lesser hit points from the Buddy Barrier. Sylveon is in the unique situation where I think it dies too fast for Focus Band, but like your best option is just killing your way through everything, which is kind of amazing when you just look at Sylveon's happy little fairy face right there. It's so cute, it's so adorable, but it's just a monster. It's complete mayhem inside of that. So we'll see how it plays out, but it's like, it's worth something. It's not complete troll. I'm not going to see someone with Shell Bell Sylveon and be like, ooh, that's completely unviable. Whereas it's like, there's always a better item for any other Pokemon in the game. So we'll see how this develops, and I really want to see nerfs to like Buddy Barrier, Focus Band, Dreadnought, Zapdos to like actually open up some options, because right now like the efficiency is kind of nailed down, but there's still a couple things you can play around with and maybe find options. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.